when I was a member of the judiciary, I saw all the abuses of the FBI, the terrible abuses over and over and over, the hundreds of thousands of abuses. And then when I became speaker, I went to the SCEF and got the confidential briefing from sort of the other perspective on that to understand the necessity of Section 702 of FISA and how important it is for national security. And it gave me a different perspective. So I encourage all the members to go to the classified briefing and hear all that and see it so they can evaluate the situation for themselves. And I think some opinions have changed both ways, but that's part of the process. You got to be fully informed.
Have you been
Excuse me.
Is this thing working? How you doing, Denise?
I'm good. After listening to that, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was Speaker Mike Johnson. He's elaborating now on his FISA flip-flop from when he was a rank and file member of the House. What is he trying to say? I don't know.
Well, he's saying that now that he's speaker, he sees things differently. But honestly, how can you trust them? How can you trust that they're giving you the correct information? It sounds like to me that they just sent you in there and gave you some fear porn and said, we got to do this and we have to have these things.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of my thing, too. For him to go in there and say this, they took me in there. Yeah, like you say, they took me in there. They showed me these things. But then, dude, have you been paying attention for the past 4 or 5 or 6 years, 7 years, 8 years? We've got, these guys are openly been caught in the Russia collusion. They've been openly caught in the Hunter Biden cover-up. They've been... How do you even trust anything these people say to you? Yeah.
So what's going to stop them from abusing this now? But welcome to the show, everyone.
Yep.
Before we get started on the show, can you please do us a favor and share the show with all your friends? Also, stomp that like button and please follow or subscribe wherever you see the name Is This Thing Working? It's all free. Just subscribe and you help us out and you help us grow. So we thank you. We put you in the room. And make sure you be informed and become engaged. That's what we're here to help you do.
Let's get this show rolling then.
Let's do it.
Let's talk some economy.
Let's do it. Yeah. The March producer price index numbers came out kind of flat. Producer prices rise 0.2% in March. In favorable surprise on inflation. Do you feel favorable about inflation right now, folks? No.
If you're a big fan of it, you should. But this is basically what she's explaining here. We talked yesterday about the consumer price index, and we've seen the rises in it. And we've seen what they call the adjusted CPI, and we've seen what they call the core CPI. Basically, they've come out yesterday with the consumer side of it. Today, they're going to come out and bring you the producer side of it. So it says here that the March PPI came in lower than expected, like we said, at 0.2%. The basket of costs paid by domestic producers of goods, services, and construction rose by 0.2% in March from February, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, versus the Economist's average estimate of 0.3% increase in February's 0.6% growth. The PPI was 2.1% higher than a year earlier. So people, when we talk about the inflation, we talk about, are we better off than we were 4 years ago? Once again, glaring proof that we're not.
Yeah.
Because now not only is it costing you more for your goods, it's costing the producer more now to make your good, to produce your goods. In turn, that's going to cost you even more.
Yep.
Even more.
Gives you totally, you're paying for it, every bit of it. And this is what, and it's all baked in. It's not going to go down. And they can say all day long that inflation is down and all that, and Bidenomics is working, and none of that is true.
Yeah. If they say that it is, it's their adjusted numbers.
You know, and this doesn't include energy and food prices, by the way. So that they don't put in there the most important. The nationwide average price for regular gas hit a reported 6-month high of $3.60 a gallon on Tuesday, spiking more than 50% under Joe Biden. In the past month, they rose more than 20 cents. They are over $1 more expensive, $2.38, than when Trump left office. And I'm going to tell you that price right there, $2.38, is high.
Yeah, because I think it was down about $1.70 or so about the time the election hit. Yeah, about the time the election hit, it was almost at $1.50, man.
It might have gone up in some places when Trump left office. That was during COVID. So it started going up some. But he, if he would have stayed in office, it would not have gotten much higher than that. But they remain high and could go higher due to industry and political factors.
Well, that's what Breitbart's telling you. Here's my honest opinion on it. Gas prices remain high and could go higher due to industry and political factors, is what they say. No, they could come down because on day one, he stopped drilling. Day one.
Yep,
then
he
emptied
closed
our
the
reserve.
pipeline.
Then he emptied our reserve.
Yes.
Yeah. Our
And
gas
now
should have
it's-
never rose.
Now it's too high to, they were talking about the reserve and filling it back up, but the gas is too high. They can't fill it back up. That's our economics for this morning. But did you hear that the House Republicans joined Democrats to block FISA reauthorization bill over privacy concerns? Well, this is this is something that we've been talking about all week. A group of House Republicans voted with Democrats on Wednesday afternoon to derail legislation designed to reauthorize the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act and address longstanding concerns over mass surveillance. We have a tweet that one of the representatives, Representative Thomas Massey, put out that explains what happened and what's going on.
Yeah, and we can get into that, and I will. And the reason that we have this explanation from him is because yesterday there was quite a bit of confusion. If you listen to a lot of the news yesterday morning, the day before all the ramp up to the voting yesterday on the Section 702, everybody tended to believe that you were voting on the actual FISA bill, but you weren't. And we didn't even realize this until we were sitting there watching the vote, remember? And we're watching it take place. And we look up and there's already 190 votes from the Republican side voting yes.
I know we were so confused. We were like, what?
Yeah, we were like going, huh? And so then the more we got to watching it, and then we seen that there were also Republicans voting no against it. And in my opinion, we were thinking all 190 plus those 19 should have been voting on that side. But all the Democrats jumped in lockstep and went to voting on that side. But then the more that we got to watching, we got to realizing, man, they're voting on a rule or to be an amendment to put into the bill.
Yes, that's what they voted on, to bring it to the floor.
And with my point with the mass confusion, I think on this is because once those votes started coming in and people were seeing that, man, my representative is voting yes on this. My representative is voting yes on this, but you said you were going to vote no. And then they started dogging them online, calling them traitors and all kinds of stuff.
They really did. It got pretty heated.
Yeah, it got kind of funny there for a little bit. After we kind of understood, oh, this is what's going on, then it even got better. But yeah, like Denise just mentioned, Thomas Massey come out on Twitter 10 hours ago, and this is a good thing. I wanted to read some of this and shed some light on what's been going on, so maybe you can be as well informed as we are now about this. Thomas Massey said, many people have been misled today. There was not a vote on the FISA bill. There was a vote on a resolution that would have allowed FISA, as well as 6 amendments to it, including a warrant requirement amendment and 3 other pieces of legislation to come to the floor. On partisan procedural votes like this, Democrats reflexively vote no, and Republicans typically vote yes. 19 Republicans voted with all the Democrats to stop everything from coming to the floor today, including the warrant amendment to FISA. Many of us who are adamantly opposed to the warrantless surveillance voted for the resolution, wanting to get a recorded vote on warrants and recognizing the Speaker can otherwise suspend the rules and bring anything to the floor without a resolution like he did with the omnibus. So tactically, whether the 19 did the best thing or not is to be determined. They may have just stopped our only chance to have a vote on whether the government needs a warrant to spy on you. That vote may not have passed, but everyone would have had to go on record for the world to see.
I'm sorry. I have to stop you right there for just a second, because this is just, a game you're playing with the American people. So it's not going to pass. Then you're going to blame the 19 for not stepping up with you, but you're not going to pass. You just want to get their votes on the record. What the heck? You're wasting time.
Exactly.
What are you doing here? What is your job at this point? It is to kill this bill. Did you try to kill the bill? No,
Actually, you tried to bring it forward so that everybody could have good optics because it's election year. That's kind of the way I understand his explanation to be. If you're going to vote for optics and you really want to vote, why those 19 that voted no on this and all the Democrats that voted no on this, I'll say it right now. Much respect for that, because at least you stood on principle.
Yes.
Because we have a Fourth Amendment to the Constitution, and it says you can't do an unlawful search and seizure. You have to have a warrant. I don't care what excuse you give me. In our country, living by our Constitution, you got to have a warrant.
Yes. And this FISA, can come out and you have to put in the bill that you need a warrant. When everyone knows in America, you need a warrant.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you put it in the bill or not.
Exactly.
You need a warrant.
This goes back to the common sense thing that me and you always talk about. Why do you even have to have a law for this? It's already explained over here. This is kind of the thing with the gun control.
Yes.
I don't understand what part of shall not be infringed you don't understand.
Yes, I agree.
Biden even tried to come out the other day and say that you're not allowed to own a cannon. The Second Amendment didn't say you were allowed to own a cannon.
I couldn't even. I can't even bring some of the stuff he talks.
Shall not be infringed. My point is, shall not be infringed covers every bit of that.
Yes. He says here, suspend the rules to pass a worse FISA bill. It's going to happen anyway. We all know it's going to happen. It's. And let me ask you one thing, Representative Massey. Why can't you stand up with the 19? Why do you always have to be against the hardliners, as you call them, as everyone calls them, the hardliners? You know what? They're the ones that are doing what the people want.
And you're going to alienate those 19 who voted on principle, who voted on what was correct, regardless of all this other. If Mike Johnson can suspend the rules and bring this to the floor anyway, Mike Johnson needs to be vacated from the chair.
Yes. And MTG is on that.
Yes.
She's not even speaking to him. He said, I've tried to speak to her on Friday. I've texted her. She won't return my calls. Because he did what he shouldn't have done with the omnibus. He suspended the rules, just like Representative Massey just told us. And he will do it again. I mean, Massey goes on to say, this is what's going to happen. Number one, they're going to suspend the rules to pass a worse FISA bill.
Exactly.
Number two, make concessions and improve the rules for the bill. Number three, say they don't need a bill to keep FISA going. Or four, let the Senate move first on FISA.
Okay.
Well, guess what? They would have done every bit of that anyway.
Go ahead and kill it. Kill it now. Get it over with. The people make our statement loud and proud and clear to you.
Yes. The people are tired of this. And they're tired of all of the gaslighting and the cover-up that's going on. Constant. Like, for example, right here. We're moving on to another article that we've been holding for a minute because, I just have to have a special place for this one. The Great COVID Cover-Up. Shocking truth about Wuhan and 15 federal agencies. Shame on all the federal employees who covered up these facts about COVID-19 by Senator Rand Paul. This is from a Fox News article. He wrote this opinion piece on Fox News. And he says, how vast was the great COVID cover-up? Well, my investigation has recently discovered government officials from 15 federal agencies knew in 2018 that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was trying to create a coronavirus like COVID-19. These same officials knew that the Chinese lab was proposing a great COVID-19 like virus, and not one of these officials revealed the scheme to the public. In fact, 15 agencies with knowledge of this project have continuously refused to release any information concerning this alarming and dangerous research. Government officials representing at least 15 federal agencies were briefed on a project proposed by Peter Daszak from EcoHealth Alliance and the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, this project. And this project has a name.
Yeah, it's called Defuse. It says this project, the Defuse project, proposed to insert a furin cleavage site into a coronavirus to create a novel chimeric virus that would have been shockingly similar to COVID-19. So for years, Rand Paul says, for years, I have been fighting to obtain records from dozens of federal agencies relating to the origins of COVID-19 and the Defuse Project. That's gain-of-function research.
Yes.
That's what was already banned.
Yes. It says, under duress, the administration finally released documents that show that the Defuse Project was pitched to at least 15 agencies in January of 2018.
So what does this mean then? And this is what they go on to say. It means that at least 15 federal agencies knew from the beginning of the pandemic, that EcoHealth Alliance and Wuhan Institute of Virology were seeking federal funding in 2018 to create a virus genetically very similar, if not identical, to COVID-19. And disturbingly, not one of these 15 agencies spoke up to warn us about this research. Not one of these agencies warned us that the Chinese lab had already put together plans to create this virus. We heard that talk, but what happened to that talk?
Well, it says right here, Peter Daszak concealed this proposal. He failed. The University of North Carolina scientist Ralph Barrick, a named collaborator on the Defuse Project, failed to reveal that the Wuhan Institute of Virology had already proposed to create a virus similar to COVID-19. I mean, this is just outrageous.
This is biological warfare.
Yes. And no one is talking about it. No one is talking about COVID right now. And we have to remember what the government did to us, what they did and what they do behind our backs. This isn't just about COVID. This is about spying on people. This is about the amount of people that died, needlessly, I mean, just needlessly, in that no one talks about it. And these 15 agencies have heard this proposal. And when each agency discovered that COVID-19 was strangely similar to Defuse's proposed virus creation, not one agency had stepped forward to warn the public that the virus might be man-made and therefore already adapted to transmit freely among humans.
Yeah.
Not one person cared enough about the people in the world
that this was going to kill.
And how it changed every political structure in every country. In every country.
In every corner of the world, man. And
Yeah.
it did. And I want to get off on this for just a second, because we always bring you political news. We always bring you news from the Hill. We always bring you the things that our government is doing. We bring them to you with facts, and we bring them to you to spur on your own critical thinking and for you to get your own perspective about this. And I don't know, people probably go, man, God, you're always talking about politics. Politics don't affect me. I'm not worried about all that shit going on up there. Well, let me tell you something. Each and everything these people do up there affects you. That's why we bring up things like the economy. Because with everything rising, like we've talked about, in costs, it costs more to produce. It costs more to buy. But guess what? Our wages are stagnant.
Let me talk about the border.
And we talk about the border.
Things that are going on down there that affect you. And our government is the one that makes these laws.
That's right.
The diseases that are going around right now.
The diseases that are going around. Yeah, we've already got an uptick. We've got cases of TB reported. We've got other cases of other things. Measles. Yeah, things that were totally eradicated. And we've got things like COVID. And COVID affected every one of us
in some way.
A lot of us got real sick. A lot of us lost loved ones. A lot of us lost friends and family. And I come across a tweet from a lady that just put this out here yesterday, and she goes by the handle Protocol Widow. And I wanted to share this story with everybody because this is a strikingly similar story to a lot of people out here. And she put this out yesterday, and she said, 30 months ago today, my husband of 45 years died in a Tennessee hospital. He had been sedated, starved, dehydrated, received remdesivir against my instruction with tocilizumab, or TOCIL, IZUMAB. I'm not even going to try to hack that word, but
Right.
but it goes on. So y'all forgive me if I can't pronounce these words, but it goes on. It says, when his kidneys showed signs of failure, he was told by the doctors that he needed to be vented. He agreed while under the influence of Ativan and Precedex. He had received no respiratory therapy up to that point. His rights to body sovereignty were violated, his civil rights were violated, and his constitutional rights were violated. He was denied hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, budesonide, and high-potency IV vitamin C. When I was told he was dying, I attempted to invoke our right to try. I was told that could only be done with experimental drugs, not repurposed drugs like ivermectin.
That's heartbreaking.
According to the Tennessee Liberty Network, at the time of his death, he was worth $166,000 on top of the actual bill. The hospital got a commission for his death like they were selling refrigerators. She said today is April 10th, 2024. It's been 914 days since my husband became a homicide victim under the FDA, NIH, CDC mandated hospital protocols. He was one of hundreds of thousands. Follow the money. And that breaks my heart, man, to hear this and to read this. And it's strikingly, like I say, because we had to sit here and watch them not treat my mother correctly and watch them put her in a hospital, and then us have to sit here and not be able to even go up there to see her. The only way we were involved in any care decisions that we had were by them calling us on the phone. And I'm still bitter about it. 3 years later, I'm still bitter.
Yeah, I totally understand, honey.
3 years later.
We have lost people. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I'm still bitter. Each and every time I talk about it, it tends to choke me up a little bit. And I still cry about it from time to time. And because I know in my heart that if they had taken care of my mother correctly, my mother would still be here with me today.
Yeah, it's really sad. And we've all been impacted by COVID in some way. And what really, really makes me mad is the amount of dollars, the amount in millions and millions of dollars that these people have taken from the American people as they've killed our parents, our loved ones, our friends, our neighbors. It's totally sick to me. And all I ask is that you just don't forget. Don't memory hold this and understand what has happened. These people have released a virus on the world.
If this had been something natural that happened, and those people that we have in these positions at the FDA, at the NIH, at the CDC, if this had been something that was natural that happened and it was spread around the world through natural causes, and these guys were working together to research and find us cures and treatment and vaccines for it, if they were doing it with the right motives and the right reasons, but they didn't. These people covering all this up shows that was not their intentions at all. There's something worse with the intentions of why they did this.
You know what I don't understand is the hospital protocols. Where did that come from? Why were we not allowed to try other medicines? I want answers to these questions.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to know why. It's just heartbreaking to me.
Yeah. Let's move forward.
Well, we're gonna move on to some more. Oh, you know what?
Some more corruption.
On to Texas.
Some more corruption.
Yeah, we have corruption in Texas, just as bad as everywhere else. But Attorney General Ken Paxton sues Harris County over illegal guaranteed income welfare scheme. He goes on and announces to Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo that this program is unconstitutional. This program would randomly select 1,928 eligible Harris County residents by lottery to receive a $500 cash payment for 18 months with no strings attached. The money itself comes from the $20 million the county received through the 2021 American Rescue Plan Act, which was specifically intended to be used for COVID-19 relief initiatives. The program was met with additional backlash when it was announced that certain classifications of non-citizens would be eligible for the handouts. There it is, right there. They're going to give this money, our COVID relief money from the American Rescue Plan, your tax dollars, to non-citizens, which are illegal aliens. That's what we call them here in Texas.
And in light of this, I read a story the other day about the DOJ was bragging that they were going to be investigating the crimes of misappropriation of COVID relief funds from back in 2020. I wonder if they're going to investigate this.
No, they're not, because I guarantee you this Harris County judge, Lena Hidalgo, she's one of their best friends. She goes and meets them in the White House. That's where she gets all her ideas.
Yeah, she's big blue.
Yeah, she is big blue. And she's, by the way, and she's crooked. She's a crooked judge that manages to get reelected over and over. She even has like mental issues.
Don't we all?
Yeah, we all do. But, a judge, I mean, dang. Anyway, the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, goes on to say, that's a mouthful, you know that? Saying his whole thing. Anyway, the Texas Constitution expressly forbids any county, city, town, or other political corporation or subdivision of the state to grant public money or thing of value in aid of or to any individual. Harris County's program to give public money away with no conditions, no control over expenditures of that money, and no guarantee of public benefit is prohibited. The Constitution also provides that everyone has equal rights, and no man or set of men is entitled to exclusive, separate public emoluments. This lottery-based handout violates the Texas Constitution because the selection of recipients is inherently arbitrary. County governments have limited authority to act and, like all governments, can only act in accordance with the Constitution. Harris County has exceeded that authority.
Go get them, Ken Paxton.
Go get them. Go get them. Of course, this program is called Uplift Harris. And it is a guaranteed income program. And, in America, what do? We don't have a guaranteed income program.
Yeah, we're not socialists.
We are not socialists. And this is a program that they're trying out. They're just trying it out like a pilot program. And the judge put out a statement here, and it's pretty long. But I really want to read this, and I want you to be aware of what's going on in your country. In January, Harris County this is what the judge says, Lena Hidalgo. She says, in January, Harris County created the Uplift Harris Guaranteed Income Pilot Program, joining more than 80 cities and counties across the nation and other countries around the world that have seen success through similar programs. In Texas, San Antonio and Austin ran similar programs starting in 2020 and 2022, respectively. This right here, 80 cities and counties across the nation have programs like this. What the heck?
So unless he filed suit and unless Ken Paxton found out about this and filed suit, we would not have known about this?
No, I don't think we would have.
How far would this have grown from 80?
Oh, yeah,
crazy.
Totally, because they want to take over. They want a guaranteed income for everybody.
Universal basic income.
That's it, universal.
Yep, UBI.
And I don't even know what $500 would do with people in this economy anyway. Before we let you go for today, on this Thursday, I just want to mention, President Trump was shaking up Atlanta yesterday. It was pretty cool. He went to Chick-fil-A and he bought everybody shakes. I think 30 shakes and then some chicken, he said. So I thought it was pretty cool because they were all standing there. And then this article, Breitbart, comes out today in the headline. I just want to read the headline. Black supporter to Donald Trump at Atlanta Chick-fil-A stop. In quotes, I don't care what the media tells you. We support you.
And this is beautiful, man. This is a chess move on his part again, too, because you remember back what was it, a couple of months ago or something, they had the story about Biden when he went to the family and he sat down there with them at dinner and he mentioned something about he didn't stop to get fried chicken.
Yeah.
Remember?
I do remember that. That was horrible.
Yeah, and they couldn't let you say anything that he made a racist statement or anything like that.
Yeah.
But look, now that this comes out, they can't say it again, because if they do, we have to go back and call Biden. This is awesome. This is a good chess move by him.
Very good chess move.
Yeah, he shut him up.
A picture out there of him, like the girls just like all over him, hugging him and stuff.
Yeah.
People really do love President Trump, and we are going to vote him in November.
Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. You know, we couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.